Title: The Echoes of Betrayal. Opening scene, setting the stage. Have you ever wondered how far the echoes of betrayal can travel? How one decision, one moment of weakness can ripple through lives, leaving nothing but chaos in its wake? This is a story about love, deceit, and the silent hand of karma that waits patiently to balance the scales. It's a story about a woman named Clara, her husband Daniel, and the choices that would change their lives forever. Act 1. The perfect facade. Clara and Daniel seemed like the perfect couple. They lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, their home always filled with laughter and warmth. Daniel was a hard-working architect, while Clara was a freelance graphic designer. They had been married for 7 years, and to the outside world, their life was a dream. But dreams, as we all know, can sometimes be fragile. Behind closed doors, however, cracks had begun to form. Daniel's long hours at work left Clara feeling lonely and neglected. She craved attention, something Daniel was too tired to give. And that's when he entered the picture: Ethan, a charming photographer Clara met at a local art gallery. Act 2. The Affair. Ethan was everything Daniel wasn't: spontaneous, adventurous, and always available. Their connection was instant, and before long, Clara found herself entangled in a web of lies. What started as innocent coffee meetings soon turned into secret rendezvous. Clara convinced herself it was harmless, just a way to fill the void in her life. But deep down, she knew the truth. One evening, Daniel came home early. He had planned a surprise dinner for Clara, hoping to rekindle the spark they had lost. But when he walked through the door, he found her hurriedly texting someone, a guilty look on her face. Daniel's heart sank, but he said nothing. He didn't want to believe what his instincts were telling him. Act 3. The Unraveling. Weeks passed, and Daniel's suspicions grew. He began noticing small changes in Clara's behavior: her late-night work calls, her sudden interest in photography, the way she would avoid his gaze. Finally, one night, he decided to confront her. But Clara was ready. She denied everything, accusing Daniel of being paranoid and controlling. The argument ended in silence, the kind that fills a room like a thick, suffocating fog. Daniel didn't want to believe Clara was capable of betrayal, but the doubt ate at him. He hired a private investigator, hoping to put his fears to rest. What he discovered, however, shattered his world: photos of Clara and Ethan laughing together, holding hands, kissing. The evidence was undeniable. Act 4. The Reckoning. Daniel was devastated, but he wasn't the type to act impulsively. Instead of confronting Clara immediately, he began to plan. He wanted her to feel the weight of her actions, to understand the pain she had caused. Slowly, he started distancing himself, withdrawing emotionally and financially. Clara, oblivious to Daniel's knowledge of her affair, grew frustrated. She accused him of neglecting her, not realizing the irony of her words. Meanwhile, Ethan began to lose interest. Clara was no longer a thrilling secret, she was a complication. When she confronted him, he coldly ended their relationship, leaving her heartbroken and alone. It was then that Clara realized the gravity of her mistakes. She tried to repair her marriage, but Daniel was no longer the man she had married. He was colder, distant, and utterly detached. Act 5. Karma's Hand. Daniel eventually filed for divorce, leaving Clara with nothing but the consequences of her actions. She lost her home, her reputation, and the trust of those who once admired her. But karma wasn't done yet. Months later, Clara discovered that Ethan had been using her all along. He had been involved with multiple women, and Clara was just another name on his list. The betrayal she had inflicted on Daniel had come full circle. Daniel, on the other hand, found peace. He moved to a new city, started a new life, and eventually met someone who appreciated his loyalty and love. As for Clara, she was left to pick up the pieces of a life she had carelessly shattered. Sometimes, the universe has a way of balancing the scales, not through revenge, but through the natural consequences of our choices. Closing scene. The lesson. Betrayal is a heavy burden, one that leaves scars on both the betrayer and the betrayed. But it's also a teacher. It reminds us that every action has a consequence, and every choice we make shapes the path we walk. Clara learned this the hard way, and her story serves as a cautionary tale. a reminder that the echoes of betrayal can linger long after the deed is done. And so, the story ends, not with a bang, but with a quiet understanding. The echoes fade, but the lessons remain. End of story.